What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the LetDirtFly YouTube channel. Today is another day working on Seth's, new to him, 2019 Can-Am Renegade 1000 here. That we kind of deemed the worst one on Facebook Marketplace because, well, as you can see, it's on jack stands right now and it does not run. Well, it does run, but not very well. We have a suspicion that this thing was actually swamped, so today I'm going to be investigating that. I'm going to pull the airbox off because there's a ton of mud in that. And if we pull the airbox off and look down in the throttle body and there's mud all down through the intake, we're going to be pulling this engine in this video and tearing it down. So right now I'm going to get you guys in here. We'll get this airbox off and see what we have to work with. So if you caught our last video, you would have seen us kind of start to diagnose to why this thing gets tight when it heats up at all. So one thing I did off camera here is I got Seth's 850 here actually too. My garage seemed to turn into his garage somehow. But took the spark plugs out of his quad, rotated the engine over just to see how it felt. Came over to here because this has the spark plugs out right now. This one feels slightly tighter, and I'm almost feeling slightly metallic too. So I decided to drain the oil and look at our filter. I'm finding some metal. So it's not, I'm not really getting glitter, so I think he might have changed the oil at some point in the oil itself, but I'm going to take you guys outside right now and show you our oil filter, and we have a little bit of copper. So it looks like this thing might have a hurt bearing. The other thing we don't know is this engine's technically pretty new. So we don't know if this thing has actually ever had an oil change, which could also give you a little bit of bearing material and some other metallic stuff as things are breaking in. Not usually bearing material, but this other metals from the manufacturing process. But either way, I think this motor's slightly hurt, but it's not hurt bad, which is a good thing. So, still gonna go ahead. We're gonna pop this airbox off. I have a feeling of what we're gonna find, and then we're just gonna probably pull this engine today and have some fun. So let's first go outside. I want to show you guys what a bad oil filter looks like. All right, guys. So we're out here where it's nice and sunny, so this way we can actually see our filter here. And if you're trying to diagnose what's going on with an engine, and especially if it sounds like it's hurt, best place to go is a filter because it's gonna filter out anything that doesn't belong in the engine, and a lot of times stuff that goes through it, like metal shavings when you have metal and metal contact, or if you have a bearing going bad, stuff like that, it's going to end up in our filter. So if we start spreading the veins of the filter here and start looking at some stuff, I'm starting to see little chunks of metal. It's kind of hard to see on the camera. I'm trying to position you guys. Let me try to rotate here. So we have between some of these guys here some metal. Not bad, not a bad amount, I will say that, but definitely was seeing a little bit of metal. There's some good stuff right there. I don't know if you guys can see that going down. See how sparkly it is? I don't know if you can pick that up on camera or not. See how some of these other ones look. Got some sparkles there. It's not bad. It's not the worst I've seen. Oh, that one's actually pretty bad. Alright, that one's got quite a bit of sparkle going on. But, yeah, either way, we do have some sparkly stuff, which is sometimes normal to see a little bit in an engine. But, from what I'm seeing, it looks like there might be quite a bit. Ooh, yeah. Oh, never f***ing mind this. There's a lot. I don't know if you guys can see that on my finger. I swiped my finger through that one vein, and that's all unicorn glitter. Ooh, this one looks even spicier. Ooh, okay, hang on. Oh, we're getting really deep in this. Oh, yeah, look at that. I don't know if you can see it on my finger. We got some damage internally, but because it still runs, there's no rod knock or anything like that. That's a positive thing. We might be able to save this engine, a lot of the parts of it. Worst case scenario, we're looking at maybe crank and rods and bearings, and clean everything up, reassemble, and keep her on the trail and everything. So right now, I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling off that airbox, and we'll see if this thing was actually swamped, which could have caused this issue. So let's go take a look. So one thing that's important to do on a project like this, and I always do this, especially since if you have multiple projects going like we always do, I always, whenever I take a bolt out or anything, or a nut, screw, doesn't matter what it is, I put it back in the spot it came from. So I just took the splitter off here. You guys probably can't see it, but This is a retaining thing. Just put the screw right back to where it was, so this way I know that's where that goes. Now I just gotta figure out what the heck's holding this on here. So I'm gonna need my pliers for hose clamps. Alright. Oofda. Alright. There we go. Wow. Alright. Throttle body's pretty nasty looking. I'm gonna pop it off from the other side since I don't think I can push this one open, can I? Oh, maybe I can. I know electronic ones can be a bitch. Well, luckily enough, I'm not seeing too much dirt down in the engine. Maybe this thing wasn't swamped. Still hard to tell yet. We won't know until we open the engine up, but seeing a lot of like oil in the intake and kind of dust, but nothing like swamped. So that's actually a good thing. Okay, well, I guess now we'll drain the coolant out, start disconnecting some wires. I know I gotta take off the brake lever over here and see if we can't swing the engine out. Not as bad as I thought. Okay, well, I guess that's a good thing. Stuff some rags down it for now. Oh my god, these bushings and everything are shut. For the steering. This poor quad. Alright, we disconnect the fuel lines. Get those going here. Alright, let me bring you guys around here and see how this thing comes out. Well, basically I had to unplug things and try to remember how it goes back together. Man, got her out. All right, just as much fun as I remember when I did my 850 XMR engine. Not bad. It's Can-Am kind of designs them to be pulled. I guess they expect them to blow up. So basically, took it all out with the harness is what I did. So was able to keep the throttle body, everything on. I took the engine mount up here, the lower engine mount down there, which gotta tell Seth this one's looking a little tired as well. It's getting a little dry rotted there. I don't know if you guys can see that. Camera's not focusing, but this one's getting there too. But you got the whole harness out with the engine, which is awesome. So now I just gotta go through it here, unplug the entire harness, mark some stuff till I remember where it goes. Right now, as far as the frame goes here, same thing happened to my quad. Can-Am basically makes this plate removable, so this way it makes swinging the engine out easier, so you don't have to go up and over this guy. But this bolt snapped off in the frame, which sucks a little bit, but it is just a well-done nut, so just gonna take a grinder, get that sucker off there, get a regular metric bolt in there, same size. Front one came out fine, so we'll reuse that, but that's no big deal. That's an easy fix. This engine mount looks good back here. Believe it or not, the universals actually look good. I can't believe that with this thing. But everything with the frame looks pretty good, looks nice and straight. I don't see anything out of the ordinary with her. So that's all good. So probably what I'm gonna do with this thing is get the wheels and tires on it. I'm gonna transfer it down back for now, maybe power wash it off, clean everything underneath this way it's all ready to go for when the engine's done. But probably tomorrow, because I'm hungry, gonna go ahead and get this thing cleaned up some more. So I'm gonna probably get the engine harness off now, just get it out of our way, get the intake off, and maybe some obvious stuff, and then we'll get the transmission off, so this way that's out of our way, and just get it all prepared. I think Seth is actually gonna get to stop by tomorrow and help me tear this thing down, so we can actually know together what we're looking at and see what happened with this thing. So hopefully nothing much, because I don't see anything too bad besides some metal flaking in the oil. So the gasket kit's only like 150 bucks or so. We're just gonna go ahead, go through the whole thing, and make sure she is good to go. Okay, so right now, let me go ahead, set the time lapse up again. Let's get this harness off, and then, like I said, probably catch you guys tomorrow and get this thing stripped down. Alright guys, unfortunately I'm too much of a I want to find out what's going on kind of guy. So I just pulled up the side plate of the motor on the, I think they call it the PTO side, which is basically your clutch side. There's metal. So I'm 100% glad we pulled this thing. Let me bring you guys in here. Let's check it out. Alright, so if we look right here in the bottom of the engine, let me see if I can position the light better for you. Don't know if you can see that, but that is straight up glitter right there. And actually when I swipe my finger across it, it's pasty and all that fun jazz. But there's not a lot of it, which is awesome. That means things might be okay here. Now, one other thing I did notice, just starting to look at things, for some reason the oil pump gear on the crank, which might mean this might be our problem, you can see a lot of heat already right here. See the rainbowing? That means we saw some heat, and I can see it a little bit back there too. So I have a feeling this thing did what my other engine did, which is spin a rod bearing. That means all we might have to do to this thing is actually just put a crank and some rods in, and this thing might be good to go, because I'm seeing everything else looks really clean, and it doesn't look like it got to the point where it's grenaded itself. So unlike what happened with my quad and actually started a rod knock, I think we did the right thing and shut her down and said, let's go through this before anything got damaged too bad. I think this thing's going to be awesome. So we might just have to do, obviously, the oil cooler and flush the whole engine out, clean up all of our gasket services, clean the entire engine, and go through this thing. So hopefully Seth can come over tomorrow and we'll actually fully tear this thing down and see what we got to order and get her back together, throw her back in the quad, and then most likely it'll be busco time.
The next day.
Well, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. Your shit's broken, so see you later.
Okay. Bye. Have fun.
Alright, so we're gonna start breaking this sucker down today. As you can see, I started to already yesterday. That's when I found out there's rainbowing here, which is a good-ish sign, because that means I think this thing has some bad bearings in it, and hopefully we just have to replace the crank and rods, and we'll have a good running motor.
Cool.
So right now, we already have a video on our channel that I'll link right up top here of the teardown of one of these engines. So we're just gonna put you in time-lapse mode and rip into this thing.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, guys, so just got the bolts off, and so time-lapse, for some reason, camera's not working so hot. So got the bolts out for the head, and this is exciting because we couldn't see, I couldn't fit my borescope down in the hole for the spark plug before, so here we go. We're about to find out what she looks like. not bad, actually. Yeah, dude, it actually...
She looks smooth.
Do you see any scoring on the piston wheels?
No.
Dude, it doesn't look bad.
No, it looks fucking fine.
Dude, there's no... Feel that. There's no fucking...
I know, dude, I can see it.
This one just needs rings. That's freaking awesome. I seriously think this thing just was hurt on the bottom end a little bit. And mine has more of a lip than this, and I didn't do any... And I just did rings. So this thing's probably fresh. So this is a cool part that I was always wrong about, that I actually learned about in the service manual. So this actually has smaller pistons than an 850. The 850 and the case of the 850 is different to take a larger piston. So that's where the 850 usually has a little bit more torque. It's got a bigger bore. But this thing has a longer stroke. So this thing is better for some more horsepower. So it's kind of funny how CCs work, even though we don't have a bigger piston, because if we look how far down the piston is in our jug here, and how much volume essentially is in here, that's your CCs. Essentially, we have 500 CCs of volume per cylinder. So, pretty cool stuff. But this thing looks perfectly good on this side. There's a little bit of carboning at the top. That will clean up easy. Let's pop off this one and see what cylinder number 2 looks like. Alright guys, so jug is coming out. Now's where we see what we got to work with on the bottom end of things here. If Seth wants to... Can't really see much of this. Oh, dude.
Oh, she got a little play, eh?
Well, I can see the rod down. You know, where's the light? I was just watching the rod on the...
That just feels like way too much play to me.
Yeah, wiggle it again? If you can. Yep. Bearings. Let's get the other head off here, and we'll get the pistons out of our way, and we're going to show you guys what we're talking about. Alright guys, so got the jug off the other side here. We can actually see better what we got.
Oh,
and
they can see.
If you can watch the bottom rod there, I can move this back and forth way too much. So, she is toast. You can also see the heat on the crank itself. Yeah, there is usually some coloring a little bit, even on new ones, but not like that.
There you go. That's a good light angle.
There you go.
There's some heat.
So she's got some pretty good movement, and the rods you can see too have some heat, but it doesn't look bad, which means...
Plus the second, you know...
The one thing I will say, we are going to get this retuned. If you can see, there's some light crusting on here, which usually that means she's heading towards lean. So, gonna definitely, we don't know anything about the tune, so we're not gonna throw anybody under the bus just yet.
Yeah, this one's pretty much got the same.
Yeah, so we're definitely gonna get this thing retuned and everything, but everything looks good with the jugs. They look perfect, actually. They do look like low miles. Doesn't look swamped yet. Even looking in the engine, looks very clean. So I think we're good that way. He might swamp the first motor, I'm thinking. But yeah, I think he just hurt a bearing here. The piston skirts look pretty good. Very light scoring on them, like barely any at all. The rings all feel pretty good on this side. Let's see what this side feels like. If I can get her over there. If I can get her over. If I can get her over.
You can do it.
It's like a multi-hand operation kind of thing. Oh, you know it is a chain. It's the timing chain. Oh. Never mind. We'll just break her down some more. But looking good though. I'm really happy here, and yeah, this thing's gonna be hopefully a really good rebuild. As long as it didn't get into the case, like mine did, which I don't think it did, because this is definitely not as bad as mine was. I think that's gonna be good.
Yeah. All right.
Cool. Let's go get the stator off, get the flywheel off, all that fun stuff. Alright guys, just as expected, this thing didn't spin a bearing, but it's got some seize bearings. So, if we take a look at our crank here, Seth wants to get in here real quick. I should be able to move this easily. As you can see, it's hanging up. So this is, the engine was seizing, trying to rotate over and crank. So that should flop, almost like if you look at this side also is a little bit seized, but I'm gonna bring them over here.
Well, they can see it.
So you see how easy this one is? It should just drop right down. This thing is stiff. So she was locking up. Now basically we just gotta make sure and hope the case is okay. If it is, this thing just needs some rods, bearings, and a crank most likely. And seal kit and should be ripping. So, gonna get the case split right now so we can further investigate any damages and start getting a parts list. Alright guys, so yeah, this, you're not supposed to have to work that hard to do the rod things and whatnot. So yeah, this thing saw some heat and we started disassembling the case already a little bit off camera. Like I said, if you guys want to check out a good video, I'll link it right up here, where we actually do a teardown on one of these engines. But we can see what happened here. Take a look at our bearings. They are tired, needless to say. So this thing needs new bearings, new crank, new rods, which we kind of figured going into it. No big deal though, we'll get all that stuff on order. Biggest thing we're just gonna have to make sure we do when we put this engine back together is that everything, all the clearances look good and everything, because maybe that's why it grenaded so early. Well, lucky enough it didn't grenade, but possibly something coming off from the factory, don't know. That could have caused this issue. So when we put it back together, just gotta go over everything with a fine-tooth comb, make sure that's all good. So basically off camera now, which you guys, this is another video you guys can check out, but we're actually gonna be cleaning this whole thing up and going through it. We actually already started popping out some of the oil passages, some of the plugs and everything for the oil passages, the oil squirters for the pistons, whole nine, so this way we can start cleaning this thing up, get it ready for some new parts, and then probably tonight Seth is going to open up his wallet and get some stuff on the way. So, pretty exciting.
So, looks like we're going to have to get the whole part list together, start getting those ordered and on the way. For the most part, it doesn't look
everything looked
bad.
Pretty good. Yeah, the top end looks excellent.
Yeah, the top end looks really good.
No lip on the jugs or anything like that. That all looks good. Perfect. Bottom end, we're just, like I said, we're going to go through everything, spec it out, because see why this failed prematurely, because it's only got 60 hours on it?
60, 70. I did the math wrong the other day when I did it.
Okay, so but still pretty low hours for an engine to go bad, so we got to just make sure there's nothing funky with the cases or anything like that. Make sure seating up correctly, all that fun stuff. Make sure it's nice and smooth when we put it together.
Yep.
Whole nine. But that's for another video. So with that, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and commenting down below. We really appreciate the support. Seth, where can I catch us on the interwebs?
You can find us on Instagram and Facebook. Send a message. You know, we'll always try and do our best to answer as soon as we can, but sometimes it takes a little longer than other times.
So with that, we'll have to catch you next time on
Let Dirt Fly.
Have you forgotten where you were when I was down? Well,